What is up, everybody? Today we want to talk to you about what your first week living in Florida is going to look like.
So some of it might seem pretty obvious, but we hope we give a little bit of insight on some things maybe you didn't think about.
Right.
Yeah.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you do so. Down below, we make all kinds of videos about moving to Florida, things to do when you get here, and even some crazy stuff from time to time. So you might want to just consider subscribing so you don't miss our next video.
Join the family.
Join the family. So one very obvious thing you're going to want to do as soon as you move to Florida is establish residency. And that can be done by going to the DMV and getting your driver's license. At the same time, you should also consider registering your car in Florida. If you don't do so within the first 30 days of establishing residency, you're actually breaking the law.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Now you do.
The more you know. So if you want more information about registering your vehicle, check out the video right up there.
Now, if you have children, you should have already done your research like we've been telling you to do and already know which school they're going to be going to. But as soon as you establish your residency, you need to get them enrolled in school.
Yep. There are some things that you should have gotten ready prior to getting here.
Definitely.
Step one, you should have gotten your children's shot records.
Hold on. You should have your children's shot records, but once you establish residency, they need to be transferred over to the Florida Department of Health and be on their letterhead. So
True.
You can bring your children's shot records, but just know as soon as you establish residency, before you can actively enroll them in school, their shot and immunization records need to be transferred over to the Florida Department of Health. What else do we need?
You need proof of updated physicals for your children.
Right.
And then you also need to have your children's school transcripts.
Right, from the previous school they attended. And make sure, step one, remember, was establishing residency, because you can't enroll them in the school without proof of residency anyway. So another thing that needs to be done within the first week, and this is something that you can actually do on your way down or, a few days before you actually move into where you're going, is setting up utilities in your name for your new address. Just make sure you call ahead and know what to expect, because depending on what area you live in, some different utility companies will actually require a deposit before setting up new service. And it's always good to know exactly what you're going to have to owe as soon as you start.
Because that was a surprise to us.
It was. Another thing that would be a great idea to do your first week when you're here in Florida is to map out your routes to and from work. You might have a couple different routes you can choose from, and that's great because depending on different times of the day, there's going to be some routes that are going to take you much longer than others.
And I'm telling you, that was a good piece that we did.
What are you talking about?
That's not what I meant to say. I meant, I'm really happy we did that.
I swear we haven't been drinking. But in all seriousness, get a good feel for the times of day you're going to be driving and exactly how long your commute is going to take, because depending on the time of day, it can change drastically, and it's always a good thing to know exactly what to expect. Sticking with the theme of learning your commute, you should also learn where the grocery store is and other essential businesses that you're going to use on a frequent basis.
Let me tell you guys, I have scoped this out so many times, and now I know, okay, because everyone knows we're in the Davenport area, we're in the heart of Disney. I have Walmarts and Targets that I won't even sniff going there. I have mine that I go on another part of town and I know I can be in and out, and it's important, especially if you're in the more high touristy areas.
And it's not just because of the traffic there. They also up their prices a little bit more to take advantage of the tourists. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't want to be paying tourist prices on everything in your everyday life.
Now this next one can kind of vary depending your situation. If you're a homeowner, if you're in an apartment complex, if you're renting, but definitely make sure that you've got pest control.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm telling you, you need it.
You don't want fire ants in your house, because we did.
And it's awful.
We didn't know the severity of the problems as soon as we moved down here. We saw them out in our yard, but you know, we thought not too much of it at the time, thought we could be a little bit relaxed with the situation. And one day we're doing laundry and picking up the clothes out of the basket, and there's a bunch of fire ants within our laundry, which then goes into the laundry being folded. You're putting clothes on. We had ants in our clothes. We had ants in our ants in our pants.
Ants in our pants.
We had ants in our bed. We were getting bit at night.
It was absolutely awful. But I'm telling you, within a few days of them being here, it was like poof, they were gone. And that is something too that if you're renting, make sure you read that fine print. Make sure, because there's a lot of places here that include that. Not ours though. I mean, but there are some places, because they want to take good care of their property too. So they don't want those kinds of pests and things around and in the house and whatever. It makes the yard look bad. So just read those small prints.
So aside from the obvious, where you're going to be unpacking your whole house, putting it back together, and pretty much just figuring out life, the things we have mentioned are pretty much all the things on top of that you need to do your first week living in Florida. But there is one thing we failed to mention. Would you like to chime in?
Sure. Get out there, explore, have fun.
Do what you came to Florida to do. You came here for the weather. You came here for the beaches. You came here for all the fun and exciting things that Florida has to offer. So make sure you don't forget that. Don't get caught up in the hustle and bustle of moving. Take a day and get out and explore. If there's anything else that we failed to mention, and I'm sure there is, because you know, we do our best, but we're not perfect. Please let us know down in the comments below. It'll not just help us for future videos, but it'll help everybody else watching here get prepared for moving to Florida.
And like always, guys, if you have any other questions, make sure you leave them down below or message us.
Exactly. And again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.